History will remember this day as the birth of a great empress. But for Catherine, the air in the cathedral did not smell of incense. It was thick with the cloying, sickly sweet scent of rotting apples, the scent of the murder that had brought her this throne, and the only other person who could smell it stood directly before her. September the 22nd, 1762. The cathedral choir thunders so loudly that the stained glass trembles, yet Catherine hears only a faint, treacherous snap. A golden thread of her gown is caught on the splintered floor. 11 pounds of diamonds upon her shoulders are no ornament. They are a press crushing the very breath from her lungs. As the sacred circlet touches her hair, her fingers white-knuckle the armrest of the throne, her skin becoming as translucent as polished marble. She does not see the jubilant crowd. Her gaze is locked on the front row, where 7-year-old Paul stands. The boy does not weep. His back is as straight as a blade, and in his eyes dwells a cold, calculating squint that makes her heart skip a beat. Amidst the roar of the masses, she distinctly catches his whisper to an officer. The crown does not fit her. Beneath her armor of diamonds, everything constricts into a knot of ice. The hall reeks of frankincense, yet the empress' nostrils are filled with the acrid, nauseating stench of rotting apples from that room in Ropsha, the smell of her husband's death. She has just gained the world, but she has lost her son. This first great lie has become her foundation, and in that small boy, she sees her future judge. 6 years later, death did not knock. It broke down the doors of St. Petersburg. October 1768, the city gasps in an invisible siege. The air carries the sticky, sweet smell of sickness that tons of incense in the churches cannot mask. Catherine makes a decision that borders on madness. She will invite the enemy into her own blood. At night, by the flickering light of a candle, the empress forces herself not to look away as the steel bites into her skin. We do not see the wound. We see her teeth clenched until they grind, and the way her hand white-knuckles the edge of the table as the thread, the conductor of the plague, vanishes beneath her flesh. In the days that follow, time melts for her, while her body quivers with an unbearable chill and her lips crack in a silent scream. Her mind remains frighteningly, surgically cold. The palace quarantine becomes her personal fortress. Lying in a shift soaked with sweat, Catherine signs orders with a hand that barely obeys her. She carves out of her son's life everyone he ever trusted: teachers, friends, mentors. For his sake, she whispers in her delirium, but the quill stabs the paper so violently that it leaves jagged furrows and dark blots like droplets of clotted blood. When the fever finally breaks, she staggers toward Paul's chambers, trembling with a deathly weakness. Catherine flings open the heavy doors, ready to stand before him as the great victress who gave the empire a chance at life. He runs a finger over her handwriting, feeling the texture of the ink. Then he slides the drawer shut. Darkness hides the ideas, but it does not kill them. They will bide their time in the dark, just as he will. But she is met with a ringing, hollow silence. In the corner of the empty room, caught in a shaft of pale light, lies a forgotten tin soldier, all that remains of the world she has just dismantled with her commands. Paul stands by the window, his back unnaturally stiff. He does not turn around. The boy does not look at his mother. He looks at her hand, which she tries to hide within the folds of her silk. He smells it, the sharp scent of vinegar and camphor clinging to her robes, a scent that will now forever signify betrayal. Catherine takes a step forward, but the cold radiating from his small frame halts her more effectively than any guard. The smallpox has retreated, sparing her face, but the saving lie has left a scar upon their relationship that will never heal. August 1764, Schlisselburg. In the deepening twilight, Catherine stands at the threshold of a dungeon. She has come to look into the eyes of her fear, but she sees only a blurred silhouette. Even 20 years of isolation have turned the emperor into a shadow stripped of speech. But when that shadow stirs in the corner, Catherine feels a chill run down her spine. This is not a man, it is a living target painted on her son's back. She does not look away. In her silence, there is no pity, only calculation. The guardsman waits for an order, his breath hitched. Catherine slowly turns her head, her face appearing as if hewn from stone in the gloom. At the slightest attempt at rescue, her whisper is quieter than the rustle of rats in the straw. Act according to instructions. Take no prisoners. The thud of the closing bolt falls like an executioner's axe. Days later, Paul finds a bundle on his desk. Inside is a pectoral cross, simple, crude metal, still holding the scent of dampness and prison mold. The boy touches it, and the cold of the metal sears his skin. He had begged his mother for mercy for the nameless prisoner. He had wanted a brother. The cross in his hand is her answer. Paul squeezes the relic so hard the sharp edges bite into his palm. Motherly love has just bared its teeth. He does not cry. He looks at the door, realizing that between him and this woman now lies not just a palace corridor, but a fresh-dug grave. 1770. The study is stifling with the smell of beeswax. Grigory Potemkin does not shout. His voice is terrifyingly quiet as he looms over the desk, invading the Empress' personal space. His finger stabs the map right at Crimea, then points toward the nursery door. You build cities of marble in the south, Cato. He rasps, the veins in his neck bulging, but the foundation of your house is rotten. Your son looks at you as a stranger while you trace the borders of the seas. You are the mother of the empire, but an orphan in your own family. Catherine feels the blood drain from her face. Her palms, resting on the map, grow damp. This is no argument. It is a slap of truth. The air in the room thickens, making it hard to breathe. She wants to protest, but the words catch in her throat. Her unconditional adoration has shattered. Out, she whispers, and then, when he does not move, her voice breaks into a scream that makes the candle flames dance. Out to the south, build your fortresses, just so long as I do not have to see you. The door slams behind him like a gunshot, and then immediate silence. Deafening. On the massive desk, the map of the empire suddenly looks like nothing more than painted paper. Without Potemkin, who has just walked out, these painted regiments will not move. Catherine sees the adjutant at the door lower his hand, holding a packet of urgent dispatches. Political paralysis has the face of a bewildered boy in a uniform. She is left alone. The rustle of her gown in the empty hall sounds like an echo in a crypt. Catherine runs her hand over the map, wiping away invisible dust. She wanted to build a machine of power that would protect them all. But in the silence, she hears only the sound of that machine grinding the bones of those she loved. Her perfect project has cracked, and from that crack blows the wind of loneliness. 1773. The east has not merely turned crimson, the scent of smoke has reached the perfumed halls of St. Petersburg. Catherine holds not a general's report, but the charred edge of a rebel's manifesto. The paper crumbles in her fingers, staining her white gloves with soot. Yemlian Pugachev promises to return the true Tsar. On the desk lies a volume of Voltaire, bookmarked at a passage regarding natural liberty. Once, these lines were wine to her. Now, against the backdrop of news of hanged officers, they make her heave. The words of her French friend have turned into shivs in the hands of peasants. Catherine slams the book shut. The sound is like a crack of thunder. She sweeps the volume off the desk, and it falls into the wastebasket. The philosopher is dead. Only the Empress remains. Meanwhile, in another wing of the palace, in the stifling silence, Paul slides back a secret panel. From the canvas, Peter III looks back at him. The heir hears the guards outside discussing the resurrected emperor. Paul does not pray. He runs a finger along the frame of the portrait, and for the first time in years, his back straightens. Out there, in the steppes, it is no mere bandit who marches. It is the ghost of his father coming to punish the usurper. Catherine does not see this, but she feels the chill creeping across the parquet. Her hand no longer trembles. She takes up her pen. The ink is black and thick like tar. Close the borders. Her voice creaks like an ungreased hinge. Any free thinking shall be deemed treason. She signs the decree without blinking. To save the crown, she had to throttle the woman she had sworn to become. November 1796. The study of the Winter Palace smells of medicine and the approaching end. Catherine, whose signature for decades moved fleets, can no longer move even the edge of her heavy quilt. Her fingers scratch at the silk, her gaze clouded by agony. Searches the wall for the portrait of her grandson Alexander, the only clean spot left in this room. She tries to inhale to call for him, but only a wheeze escapes her throat. The silence is pierced by the thud of boots, a heavy, proprietary rhythm. The door bursts open, and Paul enters. In his gait, there is no longer the shuffle of the broken air. He walks to the desk, not sparing a glance for his mother. Upon the desk lies an unfinished manifesto. the decree that was to give the crown to Alexander. Paul picks up the massive state seal, a heavy block of gold and steel that still holds the warmth of the Empress Air's hand. Catherine sees this. Her eyes widen. She tries to pull herself up, but her body has betrayed her. Paul does not scream. He raises the seal and, with a dull, bone-deep thud, brings it down upon the manifesto again. And again the metal tears the paper, turning the Empress' will into scrap. He slowly approaches the bed. He leans down to her very ear, breathing in the scent of her sweat and her fear. Now his whisper is louder than any scream. I am your law. When the sun of the new day hits the windows, illuminating a new empire, the young Alexander cautiously slides out a secret desk drawer in the distant quarters. There, beneath a pile of papers, lie his grandmother's liberal drafts. He does not burn them.